My circle tighter than it ever been. I ain't letting nobody in my business like that. For real. The only ones is me, myself, and God. You know who I be with. You know who I be with. Me, myself, and God. You know who I be with. You know who I be with. Me, myself, and God. You know who I be with. You know who I be with. Me, myself, and God. You know who I be with. You know who I know God is blessing you. If you found yourself here today, this is the Me, Myself, and God Daily Devotional Podcast. Today we'll be studying in Genesis chapter 19, and we're going to be looking at verse 16. And to give a little summary of chapter 19 up to this point, there are two angels that have come to Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're there to test the city. Okay, because these are cities that are headed to destruction. So two angels have came to the city. Lot, Abraham's nephew, recognized them, invite them into his home, welcome them into his home, prepare a feast for them, and give them shelter for the night. The men of the city find out that the two men, they don't see angels, they just see men. So step one is, in their wickedness, they couldn't see godliness. So where there were angels, they didn't see that they needed to humble themselves or protect these angels or anything like that, the way that Lot did. They weren't welcoming at all. They were wicked, and they wanted to, they wanted to hurt these angels. They wanted to, pretty much have sex with them. They wanted to rape them pretty much. And Lot called them out on their wickedness. He offered his two virgin daughters to the men so that they wouldn't do such a wicked thing. He offered his two virgin daughters to all the wicked men in Sodom so that they wouldn't try to have sex with the angels. And they still wouldn't stop, so this led the angels to blinding the men outside. And then they told Lot, well, Sodom and Gomorrah, they haven't passed the test, so the destruction is on the way. Get you and your family out of here. So when we get to verse 16, it says, when Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hand in the hands of his wife and two daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. And I have commentary in my Bible that speaks on, even after Lot became aware of the impending doom of Sodom, he and his family continued to linger there. Okay, so the first thing we have to look at is we can't prioritize worldly status over God-given purpose. In this situation, God has sent his angels to save Lot and his family. But they are so locked down by the wickedness in Sodom and Gomorrah, they are not quick to leave. Even though they know that God's anger is about to strike, they still weren't in a hurry to leave as they were being advised to do. And this led to Lot's wife, when they were being rushed out by the angels, because the angels had to physically take them out because they weren't leaving on their own. Lot's wife, she looks back and she dies. She turns into a pillar of salt because she's looking back to the wickedness. I've always looked at it as she was having compassion for the wickedness. She was leaving what she really wanted to do. She didn't want to leave to be righteous. She didn't want to leave away from what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. She was attached to it. She looked back and then she turned into a pillar of salt. And the commentary, it continues to say the angels had to physically force them to leave. Sometimes, even when we know what course of action is required, we need a push to get us moving. Let us thank God for the angels he has provided to help us through times of crisis. At other times, we may be needed to pull others out of situations that are dangerous for them. All right. So we see that there. Like we have to be able to recognize how God is moving us. And when we build up confidence in that, then we will be able to bring that type of confidence into the lives of others because they could be going through things that are destructive for them, but we see the path away because we have been trusting God. And our trust for God and our testimony will grow trust for God for those people who need deliverance. And then their relationship with God will begin in their lives. So it's important that we recognize the things of God. And when we act on those, that will cause others to see what we're doing. And it will open up the things of God in their lives. And it also speaks on as we seek to escape our sinful ways and the consequences of them, there is no looking back, no lingering. Doing so will only result in our destruction. And that's speaking on what I was talking about with Lot's wife. She was looking back to the things that weren't good for her, and it ended up in destruction for her. You know, we have to, when we know things are crushing us and we know things are putting barriers between us and God, we have to get rid of those things. We can't have compassion for those things. Those things are built to hurt us, they are built to lead us to our demise, physically and spiritually. So we have to be mindful of what's going on in our lives. We have to trust in God to bring us away from the things that we're supposed to leave behind and into the glory that we're supposed to be a part of to make a major impact in the light and in the source of graciousness and salvation in this world. Have a wonderful day.
Myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with me. Myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with me. Myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with me. Myself and God, you know who I be with, you know who I be with.
This is Radio For Real. Welcome to the Good Vibes.